Hey. All right, everyone, let's talk about something simple, but not easy. Saying no. Start over. For most of us, no comes with guilt. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to seem unavailable. And we really don't want to lose opportunities. So we do what? We overcommit. We overcommit. We overextend. And little by little, we begin to undeliver on ourselves. The truth is, every time you say yes to something that doesn't align, you're saying no to something that does. So, what happens? Well, you can't walk in peace while trying to please everyone. At some point, you do have to decide. And I know this may be uncomfortable to hear, but for years, I was that person, the yes person who said yes to a lot of things. Or, my thing was, all right, if someone needed something, I was there. If a project came up, I took it. If a friend called, I answered, even when I didn't have the capacity. I thought being dependable meant being available, but really I was disappearing. And here is what I learned. Saying no is not rejection, it's redirection. Every no clears space for the right yes. And every no creates room for peace to breathe. If y'all see me looking up, it's because I'm looking at the camera and I'm trying to learn how to look where it looks like I'm looking at the camera. Because you know how they say, don't look at the camera, but that's what I'm doing. Okay. I digress. I apologize. And every no says with intention really brings you one step closer to living in alignment. When you say no without apology, you're like teaching people how to treat your time, your energy, and your presence. I often say that we train people how to treat us. So if people are constantly, if you're constantly there for people all the time, then that's how you're training them to be and what to expect. And when you are overwhelmed, you're like, yo, how come nobody is actually paying attention to the fact that I'm overwhelmed? Because you haven't trained them to do that. And that moment when someone asks you for something and your body tightens before your mouth can even opens, that's your cue. You don't owe anyone long explanations or emotional footnotes. Because especially when people are like, why? Well, why not? And what? A simple, confident no. And I'm not able to commit right now is enough. Because here's something that I'm learning more is that peace does not come with over explaining. It actually makes it worse because you start adding in stuff and then it becomes confusion. And then all of a sudden you're like, what was I even talking about? They don't even know. It really comes from owning your boundaries. When you're clear about what you can't do, you make room to give your best to what truly matters. And over time, people will start to respect that, not because you demanded it, but because you modeled it. Not because you demanded it, but because you modeled the behavior. Here's the mindset shift. Stop viewing no as something you owe people an apology for. Like when someone is asking us to do something, be like, no, I can't do it. I'm so sorry, I can't do it. And you're like, yo, why am I apologizing? Because you're asking of my time and I can't do it. Right? The people meant for your next season would never be offended by your boundaries. They'll be inspired by them. Here's one thing I have realized, and I got to bring this in terms of being inspired by people. My sister is phenomenal. My baby sister, she's phenomenal. And as she was getting more in alignment with what the King of Kings was asking her to be, and she started getting more in the word, I saw it. And things that would normally make her spaz out, like I'll say something and I'm like, knowing she's going to spaz out, but she doesn't spaz out. And I'll never forget this. I was actually inspired and I was like, yo, what is she doing? Because I want some of that. So it is true. When you begin to model the behavior of what you're desiring, people do become inspired by it. You'll start to attract relationships and people, opportunities, and environment that value your energy instead of exploiting it. So this week, here's your challenge. Say one intentional no. No explanation, no guilt, no delay, just one. And notice how it feels. The lightness, the alignment, that's your power coming back to you. Because when you stop apologizing for your no, you make your yes mean something again. When you stop apologizing for your no, you make your yes mean something again. And that's where the confidence comes in. And that's where it begins to build. That's where, if you think about it, that's where you stop managing the chaos and start leading your life. I'll see you in the next video, because this is a whole video series. Letting go isn't loss, it's clarity in motion. And I forgot to do this. Hi, everyone. My name is Uche Mayfield, and welcome to the Women Who Leap Network, where we talk about everything with leadership, entrepreneurship, and living a purpose-driven life. And I'm really excited you can be here. Now, normally, right, I would edit this and put this back, but this is such great information. I really want you to be able to see me in real time. Because when we talk about alignment is not perfection. Alignment is a work in progress. And what you're seeing is things that needs to happen is happening, right? Because readiness will meet me in motion while I'm going towards alignment. So guys, you're actually seeing me where I am becoming more in alignment with the content that I'm producing. So that's the follow-up. When you've learned to say no, the next step is releasing what is no longer fits who you're becoming. Thank you guys for joining me and subscribing. Bye.